Welcome back to jimmymonk.com and English listening practice interviews. And today we have got an interview which is quite an entertaining video. It's a video of a young lady who's travelled around a fair few countries. She's a little bit naive and she tells all the stories of all the things that happened to her. There is some really entertaining stories here. Things that will make you laugh. But there's 3 or 4 minutes of the interview. Then there's a small quiz, 4 or 5 questions. And then another 3 or 4 or 5 minutes interview. And then some more questions, and it goes on until the end of the video. Try to answer the questions and get them correct. If you don't get them correct, just rewind the video and watch the video again to see where you went wrong. If you don't get it wrong, then go on to the next part of the quiz. And one thing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. It really does help with the algorithm. And I'm not going to speak anymore. Let's get on with the interview. And today we are in Vinh Nhân, which is halfway up Vietnam, out on the coastal area. As you can see behind, there's the sea and there's some beach. But today we have a guest, which is a guest from an unusual part of the world.
A small part of the world. A small part of the world.
But a nice part of the world. I think it's a cold part of the world, yeah?
Yes, very cold, very dark.
Very cold, very dark. And you are from?
Norway.
Norway. Okay. And your name is?
Hanna.
Hanna. Welcome to the Travelling Teacher Show, Hanna. Welcome. Now, you've told me a few stories about where you've been and what you've been doing, and would you like to tell the viewers a little bit about where you from Norway? Yes. Then you went to America. So start it from there.
From America. Yeah. Well, I have to go back a little bit. Because why did I end up in America?
Yeah, okay.
Right? Can we do it over? Sorry, can we do it over again?
No, we don't. We carry on going as we are. She's all embarrassed now.
Oh, you're so mean. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I have to say, this is a show about teachers, English teachers. Yeah. And I have a degree in a Master of Social Work.
Okay.
I lived in America for 15 years.
15 years in America?
Yes.
Wow.
So I am more like international than Norwegian.
Okay.
I lived in Sweden also when I grew up. But from I was 15 to I was 30, I lived in the US. Then I moved back to Norway because my kid...
Why did you leave America?
Okay, so I went to high school in America. Then I met my husband when I was 20. I had my first daughter when I was 24. And then when I was 25, I went to university. My parents were pushing me, go to university. I didn't know what I wanted to be. So I decided I want to help other people. So I became a social worker. And when I was 30, I had my second child, and I finished my degree at the same time. And
busy woman.
No. Yes. But then my parents wanted me to go back to Norway.
Uh-oh.
No, but the reason I moved back was because Norway is a great country.
For sure. Well organized and sorted.
Well organized. We have good childcare. It's great. We have 5 weeks vacation. It's a good place to raise kids. So I went back and raised my children there. I divorced my Vietnamese husband.
Oh, he was an American Vietnamese?
Yes. He was a refugee. He came to America as an 8-year-old. So that is also one of the reasons I ended up in Vietnam, is because I have all of his family that I got to know in America when I had my children there.
Oh, so that's the link to coming to Vietnam.
Yes, we're starting backwards or forwards, but yes. So because I met him when I was 20 and we were married together for 13, 14 years.
Wow.
And so when we moved to Norway, he came with me. And he was willing to try it, but he was not adaptable. Not every person can adapt to a new culture, a new place.
And America is very different to Norway.
Well, the language thing mainly, just having to learn a language, and it's not so different, but it is different, yes. And so he survived for 3 years. Then we got.
He did all right in 3 years.
Yes, he learned a little Norwegian, but he was not goal-oriented either. So he never, he was happy working at 7-Eleven and working night shifts, and he made just as much money as I did at the social work office. But he was happy as long as he took care of the family. That's the Vietnamese thing.
That is the Vietnamese thing, which family orientated, and look after the family.
So the career thing for him to kind of keep on moving and getting your education, that was not for him, which made us also clash because I was and he wasn't. So that was one of the reasons why we couldn't stay together.
So. How did you get to coming back to Vietnam?
Okay, so now we have to say, I've lived a long life now. So now I'm divorced, 32 years old. Okay. I stay in Norway, and my 2 girls grow up. And then when they turn 18, my youngest one turns 18. By that time, I have had chronic fatigue. I have gotten a new education, which was esthetician. I had opened my business in Norway, my first business, which was a big challenge, but so much fun, that I had for two years. But after 1 year, my friend, my therapist, said, Hanna, you can do this anywhere in the world. Because at that time, I was like, what? I can open a spa anywhere in the world? Yes, because now you have the experience. And your children are grown. I did not have a boyfriend at the time. And I was just like, yeah, what? It was like really an eye-opener. I never thought that I could do it.
But anyone can do it. You just didn't realize.
You don't have the self-confidence. I was never a dream. I never allowed myself to dream because you don't think it's possible, Well,
there's that when these people start to travel or think about traveling, it's a big jump from being comfortable to not knowing what's going to happen next.
You have no idea what the future is, but
that is traveling. That is part of traveling.
Not knowing the future. Yeah.
What made you become an English teacher? You're an English teacher now.
Yes. So I went then to America. And
you went back?
No. But, the English teacher is still a little bit further ahead, right? So so he put the idea in my head. It took me a year to prepare. And I decided to go to Florida because my children are American. I could get the visa, and my sister has a vacation home there. So every time I go to Florida, you have the sun, you have the heat, and you have the beach.
I hear a comfort zone.
Yes, and a happy zone. I knew I would be happy there. So that was my first trip, and I went on my first solo road trip, but I had a car and there were hotels, so it was safe, and found my city that I fell in love with. And but while I was waiting for my visa, I was thinking I can prepare my spa and do all the preparations. But after 6 months, I thought I had to leave the country to renew my visa. So I thought, okay, where am I going to go? I'm not going to Norway because it's cold. So I thought, okay, I'll go to Cuba. It's because I love to dance and they have salsa and great music. So I go there in January. It's cold, it's rainy, but I fall in love with Cuba.
It is a nice place, isn't it? And a nice atmosphere.
It's a nice atmosphere, nice energy, nice people, and it's a developing country. In Florida, everything is finished, everything is beautiful, and it's kind of boring that way. And there's lots of roads, lots of cars. I'm more of a small town girl. So then I ended up thinking, okay, why don't I open a spa in Cuba? So then I moved to Cuba after a few months.
A little bit closer because my arm's aching.
Okay. Okay, we'll move.
Yeah, she's got to move closer because my arm's aching now with this microphone.
Okay, you need to put your hand there. Okay, there we go. Yes. So then I moved to Cuba. I had a plan of opening a spa, buy a house. But Cuba, I learned the hard way how difficult it is.
Oh, what, to settle down and buy and da-da-da?
Well, it's a communist country, but they are so strict, and they are not an open country like Vietnam. Vietnam welcomes people. They want you here. They make it easy for you to live here.
It is easy and comfortable.
Yes. In Cuba, it's a no culture. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do this. You have to marry and you have to have residency before you can buy a house, and blah 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 and blah blah blah. But I had my Norwegian culture, which is, oh, everything is possible. We just have to work for it, And in the beginning, everybody.
Well, that is true, though. Anything is possible. You just got to work to get it.
Yes, but after so much betrayal, abuse, not trusting people taking advantage of you, they don't even want you to volunteer in the schools, so there's like no possibility of working. And
as a teacher?
As a teacher, or opening a spa is very hard because you have to find the love of your life, someone you can trust. Not the love of your life, but you need to find someone you can trust. And in a poor country, everybody wants your money.
But that's like that all over the world, though.
Yes, and I thought we could have like an even exchange. Okay, I help you. I bought him a horse so he could have a job and work and be a tour guide. And then he would help me with the residency and the house. So he had all the opportunities of having a good life had he stayed with me.
Here comes the clanger.
Here comes what?
The clanger.
The clanger. Yes. Yes, no, for him it was more important to drink and be the king of the street and
On his new horse.
on his new horse, which he sold very quickly to get money. Yeah. And he sold my house 2 times.
He sold your house twice.
That's what the rumor is.
Oh my God. This is traveling and lots of stories to go with it.
Yes. So after 6 months with him, I was really worn out and really traumatized. So then I thought, okay, what else can I do in Cuba? And that's when the teaching becomes more of a reality. If my dream of having a spa is shattered, then I thought, okay, what else can you do if you want to travel and live in a warm place?
There's not a lot you can do to earn money and travel, is there really?
Oh yes, there is. You can teach English.
Yes, that is about the only thing you can actually do traveling and live comfortably.
Yes.
But pick your country right. So now we're an English teacher, or trying to be an English teacher.
But in Cuba, again, that is impossible because they will not hire you when you're a foreigner and you cannot even volunteer because Cuba is socialistic. They take care of their own people, so they don't need volunteers. They have no culture for volunteer or voluntary organizations. So when I talked to the principal in a high school, she was like, yes, we love for you to be here. So the local people are positive, but she had no authority to approve that a foreigner was going to volunteer in her school.
So she had to go to her boss?
She went to her boss on the city level, that boss went to the county level, and I went to the county level, and then they referred me to the Ministry of Education.
And what did they say?
They said nothing. I wrote a letter with my papers and never got an answer.
So that was a polite no.
Yes, polite no, because they don't know what to answer. Everyone is afraid of losing their job. And that is how the government controls everybody. Now we have to check look at my dress. Everybody is afraid of losing their job, and that's how the government controls the people. Is that if you do something that's in the gray zone or there's no law for, they're so afraid of getting fired. So you have to follow the norm.
So they've got rules and they stick to it. There's no bending in any way.
Pardon me?
No bending.
No bending. No exceptions.
So what? So what happened after, this was Cuba, yeah?
Yeah, so then I gave up. So when I got that no from the educational ministry, I'm like, okay, that's it. Now we have to do plan B.
And plan B was?
Vietnam.
And finally, we're in Vietnam. Well, we're coming to Vietnam now. So, yeah. Hanna, what's happened in Vietnam so far?
So far, I came in August. And I was then so keen on working. Well, and I got a job in June, actually.
Where was that?
That was outside Hanoi, but it was a non-profit governmental project in public schools. And that was when I started applying in June from Florida, that was the first job I got. And I thought, okay, that's a good starting point. Now I can plan, I can go in August and so forth, because I had to wait to August because of the school year. But then when I got to Vietnam in August, I realized, okay, well, I need to apply for a few more jobs just to, because if it's so attractive and they need teachers, maybe I can get a better offer. Because that one paid maybe $900 a month.
Okay, that's not too bad. Depending on where you are.
It was outside in the province, somewhere in the province outside Hanoi. So then in 1 week I get 3 job offers, 3 interviews, and then I accepted one from iSmart. Don't ever work for them.
Okay, I think that was a warning there.
Yeah.
What was it called? iSmart?
Yes.
Never heard of them. But okay.
Yes, but that's a company that they sell English classes to the public schools. So then parents, if they want extra English classes during the day, they can pay the school and pay iSmart. But I am a new teacher. I have never taught before, but I love to teach and I love children, so I have the personality for teaching.
Okay.
So I was just keen on learning. I didn't care where they were going to place me, but it's a big company with over 200 teachers, or who knows how many. And I got placed in Mekong Delta in a small village. No, small town, which was fine, But then everything went sour.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. How much do you want to know?
Well, let's briefly go through your first one.
Pardon me?
Briefly go through this one.
Oh, briefly. Okay. So the problem was lesson plans.
Okay.
And in a big company, for them to control the teachers is through the lesson plans.
So they did the lesson plan for you?
No. They had the syllabus, but then we have to write the lesson plans, we have to think of games, and so forth.
Isn't that... Isn't that quite normal?
I don't know, it was my first job.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that is quite normal. They'll give you the syllabus, and then you have to plan your lesson around that, or the vocabulary, or the sentence structure. That's the way it seems to be.
Okay. However, I have a neurological disorder.
Okay.
I have ADHD, attention deficit syndrome.
Yeah.
Which so for me to sit down there and write the lesson plans, and then the company has thousands of lesson plans. So I asked, well, can I at least in the beginning look at the other lesson plans? I need some structure to learn how to write these things.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yes, I am a rational person. But no, that was not possible, because everything was copyrighted.
Hang on. So someone's lesson plan is copyrighted?
Because
How does that work? Hang on.
Yes, when a teacher gives the lesson plan to your academic coordinator, then that becomes the property of iSmart. Maybe that's something they made up, but that was his excuse.
Sounds very, very unusual.
But it's a way for them to
Control.
control and check the teachers, because they cannot go into the classrooms to check the quality of your teaching. They only do that once a semester, maybe. So by reading the lesson plans that we write every day, I had like 6 of them every week, they can see what you're thinking, they can follow, and see if it's good enough. What I did not know was that the more stuff you put in that lesson plan, the better the teacher looks. It doesn't matter if you do all those activities, because of course you never have time to do all of those activities in 40 minutes, but you have to write them there, because then you look good. And that's all that matters, is what looks good, all right? Now, this I did not know. In addition then, because I have attention problems, I would prefer the shortest lesson plan that was possible, right? And for me and my boss said, well, just go on the internet, find some games, But I have no patience for that. To look at, sit there and watch 10 videos and then maybe one game will fit your class. No.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll send you a library of games which we have. We do have a giveaway once a week, and the last 2 giveaways were 2 large books. So we'll send you them books to help you out on that situation.
Or I will call you when I need a game, and I'll be like, I need a game for exactly this thing. Because if it's too much information, then my brain doesn't focus. So I need more structure, But anyway, yes, but anything is good. Anything is good. So that was the problem. And then the other thing was then that my academic coordinator, he was not really my boss, because I didn't really have a boss. He was just the coordinator for the town. Because my lesson plans then were not good enough, he was not trained in training me. He didn't know how to train me to make better lesson plans, which made then him look bad, because
So he was in charge of something he didn't know about and telling you how to do it.
Right. He didn't know how to train the teachers. And he was a new academic coordinator.
Oh dear.
Yes. And he had only been it for 1 year, and the year before he had an experienced teacher. So I was the first new teacher he had to help.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. So, which means then, because he sends all the lesson plans to his head coordinator. And so he got a problem, because if my lesson plans look bad,
Then
he would look bad.
He would look bad, and then the guy at the top will look bad, and it just goes on and on and on.
So then it was easier to get me fired than to train me.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah. So, what happened then? You got fired?
Yes, so there was many incidences of warnings, and he didn't like my Vietnamese dresses that are so beautiful. Can you tell? And I have to mention my Vietnamese dresses because in Vietnam, in public schools, all Vietnamese teachers wear Vietnamese dresses, and I love them. But the first ones that I got made with a skirt, and they were shorter, and this one was shorter to under my knees. because that was the dress code. You have to wear, dresses under your knees and pants that go under your knees. And he didn't like it because now I had modernized this traditional dress. And so then I said, well, that's your opinion. But I am following the dress code of iSmart by covering my shoulders and putting it below my knees. And, as long as the school doesn't complain, I am okay. And then he said, okay, well, let's go and talk to the principal and get the approval. But then he never made the appointment to talk to the principal. Instead, he sends me a warning that it's not appropriate. So, so he was trying to find ways to fire me. And later on, just because we had so many arguments about my dress code, and he knew how rude it was to criticize a woman's dress. He knew that's Vietnamese culture. You never do that. Yet he did that. And you're not a woman, but we women, we love our dresses. And for someone to complain about it being too short, yeah, it's very hurtful.
So after that one, where did you go then?
Okay, I just have to. My last point is, after a few weeks, I actually went to all the 4 principals to get approval, and they all approved my dress as long as I wore long pants. So I was right in the end. And then when I confronted him, he apologized.
Okay.
But anyway, so that was yes. So that was a really bad experience. But in a way, I was glad that they fired me, because if they had not fired me, I may have been stuck there for a whole year. Because you feel an obligation to the kids, to the school, and you want to do a good job. So in a way, when he first fired me, I was kind of happy because now I have my freedom back. I love my freedom. And
So what did you do with your freedom, though?
so in my freedom, with my freedom, I decided, why don't I? Because when I took this job, it was like the first job, because I was impatient again and I was dying to get to work. I hadn't worked for 2 years, so I was really eager. Now I thought, Hanna, you're going to relax, you're going to take your time, and you're going to find a city that you want to live in, a city that makes you happy. And the things I know, I don't travel just to travel. I am on a mission to find a place where I can settle down. And yes, I fell in love with Cuba. So this is plan B, and I'm thinking, okay, I love Vietnam as well. It's a different feel than Cuba, but I love the people, I love the climate, the nature is fantastic. And for me to be happy, you need to know what do you need.
Okay, so what do you need to be happy?
I need sunshine every day. I need heat every day. So even north of Vietnam would be too cold for me. And I need ocean.
Sounds like Wing Young.
Ving.
Wing Young.
Where's that?
We're in Wing Young.
There's so many weird names in Vietnam, and it takes a while to learn them.
So you're looking for work at the moment. You're looking for a new school.
Yes, I'm looking for a new school, and I'm looking for in a coastal town.
So you want a new job in a coastal town.
Yes.
You've got a master's.
I got a master.
And a TEFL.
TESOL.
Oh, you got a TESOL.
Yes.
TESOL. Yes. TESOL. So you got a TESOL, a master's,
Yes.
and some experience.
Yeah, now I have 5 months experience. I know a few games.
So, if you're looking for a teacher, and your centre is in a coastal area, mid-Vietnam,
Yes.
not too close to Saigon.
Right. Well, no. Vung Tau. It's pollution. Everything that's close to Saigon is polluted. So it needs to be between Phan Thiet and Vinh
Wing Lung. Oh, you got me saying it wrong now.
Win Yong.
So if you've got a position available for a lady teacher with all the qualifications, you can contact her through this email below here and have a chat with her.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Right, that's it from the Travelling Teacher Show at the moment. This is our first interview in Wing Young. We'll be here now for a couple of days, so let's find out who else we can find. So it's a goodbye from me and a goodbye from
Hanna Sue.
From Hanna Sue, and we'll see you on the next Travelling Teacher Show. Well, that's the end of the video. If you've lasted this long, I hope you've enjoyed it. It was a bit of a entertaining interview, I believe. And don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell, and you won't miss the next video. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.